Hey everyone, Gaming Solo here. I thought I'd try my hand at making a series of videos talking about some of the features in Star Citizen, both currently being developed and ones that we haven't heard about in a very, very long time. So while some footage of me exploring mining facilities on Microtech plays in the background, I thought we would talk about Death of a Spaceman. So Death of a Spaceman is the concept that after your character dies a number of times, or in a different sort of ways, or something of that nature, that eventually you'll be unrecoverable and your character will permanently die. From there, most of your progress will be passed over to what's considered your next of kin, and your next of kin character will take over, and that will be the character that you play moving forward. It's supposed to add a level of risk and reward and prep and different things like that that Star Citizen is known for if things go well and you don't die to bugs. But I'm wondering in 2025, as when this video was created, if that might be a little bit of an outdated concept, especially in the setting of an MMO. We spend a lot of time prepping and getting things ready already just to go out and do different things around the game. And when we do that prep, it's very easy for that prep to be interfered with or be for nothing. Considering this is an open PvP game, and at any time anyone could potentially kill you, it's a pretty daunting thing to do a lot of prep to go out just to die a few minutes later and have all that prep to redo just to be able to go back out again. And when I say prep, we're talking from the point that you spawn in to getting equipment loaded up on a ship, to restocking certain things like food and ammunition. You're talking 15 to 30 minutes easy every time, especially with the travel and traversing through the everybody's favorite transit system and elevators. But it just makes you wonder, is Death of a Spaceman a step above what is really needed? Because death is already pretty punishing in and of itself. You don't respawn with your equipment. You have to wait for your ship to be recalled. Eventually, once insurance is in place, you won't even be able to easily recall your ship and just get it back within a few minutes for a small fee, or for free for a few more minutes than that. There's going to be a lot more to it and to the insurance system than just snapping your fingers and receiving your ship back in the hangar and in the safety of a port. So I'm wondering if they're even going to do it at this point. I think that Death of a Spaceman, though it's been mentioned a couple times over the last year, I think they might be changing that up a little bit. It's all speculation. I don't have any proof or any inside information or anything like that. But I wanted to kind of throw out there an idea that would be a compromise. They spent a lot of time marketing to us the Ursa medevac, and they restored. Well, I say restored. I haven't played the game long enough to know for sure, but I've heard you used to be able to revive in Tier 3 beds. Whether you weren't or you were able to in the past, Tier 3 beds are now a revivable bed. And a lot of people joke that any bed now is a tier 1 bed because all you have to do is backspace right next to it if you have a higher tier injury than your current medical bed, and you can respawn in it and then pick up your equipment right off of your body, which is very true. But I'm just wondering if there's a better way to go about this and a better way to leverage the idea of a tier 3, tier 2, tier 1 bed. Um, Obviously, all this cloning that we're doing, which the whole premise since they've gone away from, the concept of retrieving the body as it used to be described, it now seems to be more of a DNA imprint, and your DNA deteriorates, the imprint deteriorates, and your clones can't do a perfect imprint and all of that stuff, and that's what will cause you to eventually die. I'm wondering if that should be thrown out, basically, and more of a concept of having enough biomaterial to respawn in one of those beds might be a better solution. For instance, tier 3 beds could hold enough material to respawn twice. Tier 2 beds maybe 4 times, and 8 times in a tier 1 bed that's on a ship, right? Obviously, in the hospitals, the tier 1 beds you're going to respawn back to are going to be able to respawn you regardless, but having some kind of limitation of how many times you can respawn back to that point, because the idea of waking back up in the medical bed back at the last base you were on, or the last main place that you imprinted on, that's still a pretty punishing thing, especially if you were in combat and somebody's now taking all of your stuff back at your ship. And limiting, based on tier, the number of times you can revive, or the amount of biomass that that bed can hold and contain there and handle at any given time, would put some weight and some planning behind what beds you use and the benefits of having the higher tier beds. Um, but I think something along those lines of trying to make the gameplay fun and excusable. If you go running into a bad situation, you get killed, and then you respawn, you have the option to just fly away and not deal with that, versus possibly permanently dying and never never playing that character again. I feel like it's a good compromise, especially we're pretty far removed now from permanent death being a big thing in MMOs. But anyway, that was kind of my thoughts on that. We haven't had anything lately, and maybe if they do come up with more information on that as we get closer to 1.0, I'll make another video about it and my thoughts. But go ahead and throw your thoughts down in the comments. If you want to see more content like this, just subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll make sure to get into a at least weekly cadence with videos like this.